MD1 Library Resource Session. Slides are linked here. You can use this bit.ly to access the slides. You can also access them in your Google Drive JABSOM 2026 MD1 Library Resource folder. And you could also access them underneath this video. Aloha. My name is Melissa Kahili-Heed, and I'm one of the librarians at JABSOM. My contact information is here, and then we also have our Instagram account, which we're more than happy to help students via that app as well. Our outline for today, I'm going to recap library, a little bit about the library and the LRC. More importantly, though, is I want to orient you to online resources, the library's online resources, and help you in choosing the right resource for your depending on the type of LI that you have. Now, when we met in person in class, we did an activity, and we won't be able to do that in this video, but I encourage you to take a look at it later. And then lastly, we'll talk about some citations. So a little bit about the library. Just remember, this is our main library email here, HSL Info. You can email us anytime. So we have textbooks, of course. We want you to remember that you can borrow them, and that we are more than happy to help you locate the books and borrow them. You can also borrow books from any other campus. The key to accessing, online textbooks, databases, and whatnot is through our library's website linked here. And then, of course, if you're watching this, we have videos also. So we do orientation videos like this, but we also do how-to videos for things like Zotero and optimizing your search in PubMed. And then we also have printing and scanning, which we'll talk a little bit more in just a moment. So the spaces you can use in the library, we've got the main area, the main open library area, study rooms, a computer lab. All of those places are really great for group study. We are food and drink friendly except for the stacks. And then keep in mind the stacks is a quiet space meant for individual study. And the most important thing to remember here is that you can access the library as a medical student anytime the medical education building is open. And then the hours are linked here. We have a chat feature on our website, and it does come to one of us at the library. So please feel free to use this anytime from so Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, those are the hours that the library is staffed. Those are the hours that will have this chat feature open. Good questions to ask would be, helping you to get to the right database, or whether or not we have a book, which database to use even. All of those are great questions. And these are our Learning Resource Center scholarship students. So this is a merit scholarship that is offered for second years. It opens in around March of every year. And these are our current scholarship students. So this is Jennifer, Julia, Brooke, and Chantel. They can help you with any problems with the printers in the area outside of the PBL rooms on the 3rd floor. If it's low on supplies, let them know. Let them know what you want in the food pantry, or you can also ask questions about any of the resources upstairs. So there's books, or you can ask them about the online resources as well. And then there's an email here that will go to all 4 of them. And printing. So remember that printing is free for medical students, but we ask you to use it responsibly. You can print from your laptop. So this is the link to that. And then let us know, like I said, if there are, printers need to be troubleshooted, paper needs to be refilled, whatnot. So you can email this LRC crew, and then you can also let the library know. So whichever's faster. And then remember that you have a code in order to release the print jobs from the printer. So any questions about printing, please let us know. We can help you with that. Okay, so we'll do a quick, we'll talk a little bit more now about the library resources. So, main tip, or what we want you to remember, is that we want you to start at the library's homepage. That's going to be the key to getting into any of the databases and accessing textbooks. So you can kind of think about if you think about a Russian nesting doll, that's what our library website is like. So we subscribe to books and articles, and they live within these databases, and then our library website is what's containing all of that. Okay, so like I said, here is our library website, and then so this is what you would have to use this library website in order to be prompted to log in. It looks like this, and you log in with your UH password, so same as your email. So this is what you have to do for books and online textbooks and databases, certain databases. But there is a shortcut for accessing journal articles, and that's libkey. So that information is linked here. And we also have a video linked here as well. And then don't forget, you have your MS1, MS2 learning issues resource guide. So there's tips for making your learning issues linked here at the top. And then there are books arranged by unit, so MD1, MD2, MD3, all the way up to 7. And then keep in mind or note that there's in MD1 a basic science textbooks tab, and then behind it is a medical textbooks tab. So there's these boxes are all tabbed, so there's multiple tabs. Okay, so don't forget to get to any of our databases, so Access Medicine, Clinical Key. We have our quick links here on the left side of our website, but this isn't representative of everything we subscribe to database-wise, so just remember there is this database icon if there's something you're looking for that isn't listed under quick links. And then to kind of help you to help orient you to what these different databases have to offer. So these databases listed at the top are some of the databases that you'll use the most frequently, or that we at least recommend that you use. And then the items down the left represent what each of these the types of, or the format of information contained within the database. So it's a matrix of what they have to offer. So Access Medicine, you can see, is pretty comprehensive. It has a lot of different types of information. The one thing it's lacking are the journal articles and then these tools, these calculators. Clinical Key, though, on the other hand, does kind of pick up where some of the pukas from Access Medicine. And then this is also linked in your library resources, MD1 library resources folder. So Access Medicine will be one of the most used, most useful databases. Like I said, there are textbooks. It does citation generating. Students really like the DDX, so this Diagnosaurus function. There are drug monographs, Q banks associated with different textbooks. And then, of course, you can search this interface, using your specific LI topic. Clinical Key is another one that you will find most useful. So it also has textbooks, but it also has journal articles. So you can link to PubMed articles within Clinical Key. You can also find clinical overviews, practice guidelines, drug monographs, and then you can also search by your LI topic. Dynamed. So this is, I like to remind students, it's like UpToDate. So you've probably heard about UpToDate, but this is a clinical point of care tool. So this is really great for those clinical LIs. It outlines all of those aspects of a disease, so the epidemiology, etiology, diagnosis, treatment, etc. And then because it is a clinical care or a point of care tool, that you want to really limit the number of search terms that you use. So at the most, you'll probably be searching for a specific disease and then looking through the content that way. And then, of course, you have your Step 1 Bible, so the first aid books. You can download the PDF of the entire book, and then this is also linked on the website under quick links. It's linked here as well. And then steps 1, 2, and 3 are available. Books for steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so really quickly, remember that we subscribe to lots of different book packages, journal titles, databases, and they don't necessarily all speak to one another, so they're siloed, they're disconnected. This makes finding information pretty difficult. But what we have is OneSearch, and it helps to connect these databases. So when you search our OneSearch, it's going to simultaneously look through multiple books. So I recommend looking specifically for book titles or article titles, but you can try searching by LI topics. It just might take a little bit of finessing. So OneSearch is the big search box that is on our homepage. You can also link to it here in quick links. And this is what the interface looks like. So like I said, I recommend searching specifically for a book title that you're looking for. And then when it's an online book, you can link to it online. If it's a book that's physically located in the library, you'll see available at Health Sciences Library. And then really the key to using this interface is going to be these quick links here. So if you know you want something, your filters and facets. If you know you want something that's online, I suggest limiting to available online. If you know you want a book, then I would suggest limiting to this resource type book. And then, so the other thing you have as a medical student, and you're part of UH Manoa, is when we don't have access to the full text of an article, you can use interlibrary loan. So when you go through OneSearch, you'll see a page that looks something like this. So it's going to prompt you to sign in, and then you'll be able to put in an interlibrary loan request. So there's a form that will populate for you, and then all you have to do is hit submit. You'll get an email letting you know when that article is available. Okay, so just remember, use the library's website to access databases and textbooks. For articles, I suggest doing LibKey. Use your MS1 and MS2 resource guide, but remember that it's just a curated list. Those suggestions come from each of the course directors. You can go beyond that. You can refer to our database matrix if you forget what each of these different databases does, and then use OneSearch to get around paywalls if you need to, and to search for specific items. Okay. So next we'll switch gears to talk about choosing the right resources depending on the LI that you have. So the key here is to kind of think about whether or not you have a biological, a clinical, a populational, or a behavioral LI, and then choosing a resource from there. So in class we talked a little bit about maybe some of the problems you might have had since you've had some experience working on learning issues now, you've had some experience with the PBL process, you can, kind of think about what you may have had issues with, and definitely reach out to us and let us know. So like I said, ask yourself if you've got a general or a background question. So these tend to translate to clinical and biological LIs versus something a little bit more specific. So why do adolescents drink and drive? Community-based issues. These tend to be our behavioral and populational LIs, and we usually need to use pretty different tools in order to answer these questions. So this is another handout that's linked within your MD1 Library Resources folder in the Google Drive, and this is your learning issues mapped to different resources. So biological learning issues, the subject areas, and then the database that we suggest would be most useful. Clinical database is most useful, and so on. This is our activity that we did in class. Feel free to take a look at it. But basically what it was, and I'm going to do this, we walk you through some sample learning issues and ask you to think about the type of learning issue it is, and then take a peek in some of the different databases. The main thing to remember here, so this is pathophysiology of pain, was the example learning issue. This is a biological type of learning issue, and we have you search in Access Medicine and Dynamed. So Access Medicine searches directly within the textbooks, so you can search for your learning issues there, whereas Dynamed, and you should have come across Harrison's within Access Medicine, whereas in Dynamed, if you search the same type of learning issue, this pain needs to be specific to a disease. You're not going to be able to search for a general type of learning issue like this, like pathophysiology of pain. And then pharmacology of aspirin, another biological learning issue, and we looked at Dynamed, Access Medicine, and Clinical Key. And they all have the same information, essentially. It's just presented a little bit differently. Dynamed tends to bullet information. Clinical Key tends to be more text heavy. So normal adolescent behavior was another sample learning issue, and we have you search in OneSearch, and then we have you look in LWW. So in OneSearch, this can be difficult because it's your keywords become really important here. Like I said, I prefer it for searching for a specific title of a book or an article. And remember, the key to using OneSearch are those filters on the left. And then our last LI in the activity is healthcare issues of someone's in Hawaii. This is populational, and we play around with some of the search terms. So main thing to remember here is that you're given a learning issue, and we don't want you to take it at face value. You may have to kind of think about different ways of rewording it. So we suggest, instead of searching healthcare issues, you might want to think about the way a journal article would talk about this topic. So they may say health disparities instead. So you may get better search results by searching health disparities instead of healthcare issues. So just rethinking it. And then we also take a look at Google shortcuts, and they're linked here. So you can, by all means, of course, you will need to search Google sometimes, but using these shortcuts will help limit you to just a subset of information. So you can just search, websites ending in .gov or .org. All right, so citing and other tips. So I'm a librarian and we have to talk about information ethics, how to use information responsibly. As a JABSOM student, you have access through the library to download full text copies of certain articles and textbooks, and we encourage you to share links with each other. What we do not want you to do is to download copies of books and share the entire copy with, or share the entire PDF. We are unable to get an accurate idea of how databases are being used or the number of students accessing, and then it makes it hard to justify the cost. So keep that in mind when it comes to using the resources. Share links. And then, so we all know citing is important. It provides a paper trail to your work. It lets the reader know that your work is built on a solid foundation, and then it helps you to avoid plagiarism, of course. So we have to do it. So, to help you cite your sources in LIs a little bit easier, remember note some of the databases generate citations. So Access Medicine does, OneSearch generates citations, PubMed, Google Scholar, and Access Medicine will give you citations at the book chapter level. And then for websites, at the very least, you want to link to the webpage title and provide a link to the article. So for citation generators, these are those citations that you can copy and paste. Here is OneSearch. So there's a little citation button, so it's highlighted here, and then you can copy your citation and paste it into your document. In PubMed, there is also a citation button, so similar, a little quotation button, and then of course in Google Scholar. So look for these cite buttons. We recommend, so in Google Scholar and PubMed, you have multiple options. In PubMed, we suggest choosing the AMA citation style. In Google Scholar, you can choose the Vancouver style. And here is where to get to the citations in Access Medicine. Here's what it looks like. And this is just an example of how to cite a book chapter. So if you end up at a database that doesn't provide the citations for you, so Clinical Key does not, there are, so you want to include author, chapter title, and edition. So this is author of the chapter, and then there's an author for the book title, edition, publisher, year, and pages. And then this is what it might look like. And then citing in Amboss. So we know a lot of students are using Amboss, and that's great. It is a wonderful tool. I can understand the appeal for students, but we definitely at the medical school want you to balance your use of tools like Amboss with actual primary resources and journal articles. So you need to know how to use the textbooks. You need to know how to search and find journal articles using, databases like PubMed. But if you are going to be using Amboss, at the very least, include the author of the entry, title of the entry, and the last date it was updated. Okay, and then this is, so LibKey slides are here as well. I highly, highly recommend installing it. So I'm going to exit out of slides, and I'll show you what LibKey looks like. I'm going to go to our libraries page. I'm going to go to PubMed. I'm going to log in. So usually you need to do this just once. I'm logged into email already, so it picked up my login pretty quickly. And so here I have this little box that says provided by University of Hawaii at Manoa. And then I have these buttons to download PDF. If there is no PDF available, so in Cell we don't get the most recent year for the articles, I have access options. So here I'm going to click on download PDF. It opens a PDF. So really quick, really easy. Maybe not the quickest. Okay, so here's my PDF. And then here is a button with access options. So if I click on that, it's going to take me back to OneSearch and then I can order this article. So it says, please sign in to check if there are any request options. I'm definitely going to sign in. And then here I can request a PDF scan. So, and then here it says ILL. So that's the button you want to click on. Lots of logging in, but luckily it gets picked up when I'm logged into my email. So these fields are filled, and then all I have to do is hit submit request, and then I'll get an email letting me know when this PDF is ready. And like I said, this is free for Manoa students, so JABSOM students also. All right, so those slides are all linked here. Definitely let us know if you have any issues installing, and then I will just review. So remember, library hours are the MEB hours for medical students. You can borrow textbooks, especially in MD6. A lot of those books are only in print, and MD2 as well. Library website is your key to getting into textbooks and databases, but definitely use LibKey for journal articles. Your MS1 and MS2 guide is a list of suggested sources. Remember, you can go beyond it and definitely reach out to, MS2s for suggestions. So students like the LRC students are happy to help. Searching, so you may need to take different angles to search some of your learning issue topics, especially those populational ones. And then just if you remember anything today, remember to ask for help. And we know that you prefer to reach out to your classmates first, and that's great. But we're here to help you as well. So you can chat with us via our website. You can email our library email, hslinfo, or me. So mkahili@hawaii.edu. So mahalo.